that feels good when you have something to offer the world that you love. Because it's naturally infectious. Like people can tell when you love something. And then they get at least a little excited. Just like if you see somebody smiling real big, you probably gonna do at least a little smirk. Hey dreamers, welcome back to the Dreaming Forward podcast. Can you believe it's already the last episode in the month? Of course, this month we've been talking about cultivating optimism as a leader. And we've talked about two of the three P's, and that is people and processes. But I want to end with this third P, and that is product or service, if you're service based. When we think about optimism, having the right offerings is key to that, because if you don't have something that people feel good about. I wanted to talk about product or service, because if you don't have something that people feel good about, they won't make it right, market it right, sell it right, produce it right, analyze it right, iterate on it right. Everything will be mediocre. When you think about some of our most beloved products that we use, the services that we love and keep coming back to, there is an element of optimism to it, either because it always works really well, so we come to expect that, or we love to see the new version of it. I recently read an article about VR headsets from, I believe it's Apple. And in it, Tim Cook, he was describing the product development process and how excited he was about this development. And one thing that stood out to me, it was at the very end of the article, but he talked about how they have fun and they enjoy something so much as they're working on it, that essentially that leads to them producing something amazing. And I thought about how important play is to the product development process. I thought about how I feel when I build something that I love, and the excitement about that, and how it bleeds into every part of my business's operations, whether that's marketing, sales, the platforms that I use, the people I partner with to execute on it, etc. And I realized that a lot of us don't get a chance to play very much at work. Now, this doesn't mean that you take your job as a game, but it does mean that you have a sense of joy, curiosity, exploration, and connection to what you're doing. One of the things that I always tell people about my career is that I have found this perfect synergy of four elements. Number one, I get to do something that I really enjoy. I love being an organizational psychologist. It is so much fun to me. I feel great about this work, but I'm also good at it. And this is not just me gassing my own self up. The market has validated that I'm good at that, which is nice. And so because I'm good at it, and then I seek to become even better, that validation becomes a loop. The third part is that the world needs it. So I know for a fact that I have services that I offer, products that I offer through my book that the world needs and is looking to find. But then finally, I get paid really well to do it. So I get to make a thriving wage. The thriving wage, the world needs it, I do it well, and I love it. That's pretty much all you can ask for in a career. And I feel really fortunate and really blessed that I've been able to find that before the age of 42. That's like wild to me. But I think it's important for all of us to at least strategize to have that same perspective. Because when we have work that we don't do well, or work that we hate, or work that is now obsolete in the world, or work that barely pays us enough to thrive, let alone survive, it's impossible to feel optimism about that, because there is this misalignment. I want you to think for a second about which of those four you feel the most optimism about right now, and which of the four things you feel the least amount of optimism, or you could say the most pessimism. Is it that you do not love your job? Is it that you do not have the right competencies to do that job? Is it that the world no longer needs or wants that job, or is it that that job does not pay enough? Which of those four elements is the biggest pain point for you right now? And when you think about that, when you think about all the ways that external factors can beat down on all four of those parts, it's tough. It's not easy at all. So let's circle back to the product, because in that regard, our career is the product. But when we think about ourselves as a leader and the products and services that our team or our company offers to the world, those four elements still apply. Do we love what we're offering? I love the basket of services that I provide to the world right now. Again, I told you I had to realign the company over the past year and a half, and I got rid of, I want to say, 60 to 70% of the things that I was doing. And even some of the stuff that's listed now, it's listed there because it's a tag along to something else, but there are only about 4 things that I do regularly. And I love those 4 things. I love training. I love the trainings I've created. I love executive coaching. I love when I get a chance to support people with program design and management. Love it. I was just working with a client on a project like a week or 2 ago, wrapping up something, and I got to combine all 3 of those. Actually 4, yeah, because it was the org design piece, it was some coaching, it was training, and then it was program design and management. I was having a blast. Every day I got off those calls, I was like geeked up. That's probably why I cooked so much last week too, because I was so excited. That feels good when you have something to offer the world that you love, because it's naturally infectious. Like, people can tell when you love something, and then they get at least a little excited. Just like if you see somebody smiling real big, you probably gonna do at least a little smirk, because joy is infectious. The other side to thinking about play and its impact with the product side, I talked about curiosity. One of the reasons why I love what I've developed is because I get to learn about it a lot. So everyone has a natural level of curiosity. Some people are more curious than others. I'm a very curious person. I love researching. I love figuring things out. I love exploring things, etc. But that is something that you can cultivate over time, regardless of what your starting level is. We have to have curiosity as leaders. It's very important. That curiosity is just so, so, so important, because when we're not curious about things, our team is naturally going to become complacent. When I'm talking to people about my harebrained schemes, I be geeked up. And I do have, my grounding people who will be like, oh, okay, girl, that's real good, but how you gonna pay for it? Like, let's talk budget, or let's talk process, or let's talk available time. You don't have enough time to do that because you got to be here. And it's not that they're trying to dissuade me. They're, again, my grounding forces to make sure that I have planned appropriately. But they're still excited about it because they can see how excited I am, and they can see that curiosity. The other thing, y'all know the phrase, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I can't tell you how many times I've been curious about an idea, and I might have a journal where I just write a word or sketch something or just write something down. And then all of a sudden I'll meet 3 different people in different places at different times who have different backgrounds, and they'll give me some little piece that I need to understand that idea more. They appear because now I'm ready to receive it, because I have now projected out that curiosity into the world. And so I began to attract what I need, who I need, how I need it, to begin to make that a reality. And this is not woo-woo spirituality or religious stuff. That's almost like a universal fact. Think about the last time you had a great idea. And when you really let yourself just get into it and flow with that idea, oh my, didn't you meet some really cool people? Even if they just told you one little thing and you found out one little thing from them, that interaction just took it to a whole other level. When I first talked about taking my company global, I remember I was like, how you do that? I've worked for global companies before, but I don't know how they did that. And all I said was, all right, I'm going global, period. I feel like this is where God is leading me. I can see practical reasons why this is necessary. So that's that. I'm gonna have to figure it out. And all of a sudden, I started getting ideas, and random people would come up, and folks would be like, "Hey, you want to go to this meeting, and you want to talk about this, and here's this contact." And I was like, "What?" And now, I think it's been about a full year since I made that particular decision. Ever since that year has now passed, and these little steps, sometimes they look so minute, and other times it was big leaps that I had to take, and big sacrifices, and big risks. So no matter how small, how big, but the continuous steps, process to open this vision and make it a reality. Now I'm looking at where the company is, and I said, man, okay. Wow, I can't even believe it. This is wild. This is crazy. And so that's a part of the product too. That roadmap management. Atlassian, I love their 7-step process, product development process. And one of the steps is about building a product roadmap. How often is optimism on your roadmap? How often do you get a chance to cultivate curiosity and play into the roadmap? Do people get a chance to try to break things and then fix it? I remember I worked a job and it was in HRIS work, Human Resource Information Systems. And we had these test environments where the process that folks use to do their HR work, we actually were the designers and launched and managed those systems. And so we could go into the test environment almost at any time and just play and explore and pretend like we had some problem, and then figure out workarounds, because people would call us to figure out those issues, or we had to train them. And that would be so much fun. There were days where that might be all we had to do because we didn't have any help desk tickets and no trainings. So it was like, okay, I'm going to go play in the test environment. So much fun. And I learned a lot in that job about how powerful playing can be. Because sometimes we would find problems that didn't exist and then push it back out to the actual developer agency. And they would say, well, we didn't even know that was a problem. Let's get ahead of this. Play helps you to be proactive. That's how you do preventive work instead of always prescribing new solutions to fix problems. So again, the power of play cannot be understated. Okay, that's way too many P's. Let's get off. Let's get off the P's. Let's introduce a new letter. The last thing I want to bring up as it relates to product is the idea of being able to shift. And it's insane because the word pivot came to mind. I just told y'all I'm about to get away from these P's. All right. What's another word for pivot? Shift. Let's use shift. Sometimes you got to shift your whole product. Like sometimes the thing you were doing, just either nobody want that, you can't produce it, you can't source it, you can't manufacture it, you can't market it. There's a new regulation you can't set. You just can't do anything with the whole product. But more often than not, it's a little piece of something. Just a little piece. And we often become so married to the whole product that it feels offensive to have to change any one piece. But it's very rare that you have a product where no part of it can afford to be changed. Think about the products and services in your company. What would happen if you changed just a little piece of it? That whole thing wouldn't come crashing down. What would happen if you made just a little adjustment to test something out? That might open up a whole new revenue stream for you. I'll give you an example how this has showed up in my company. So for about, let's say 2 full years for sure, DEI trainings were booming. And I could get close to 6 figures per client for a combination package of trainings, some coaching hours, the survey product that I have on the employee experience and strategy development. I mean, like one discovery call, boom, they signing on. Here we go. We on and pop. And around the end of 22, that started to slow down. Some of it was because of the time commitment, because that was a 6-month engagement, sometimes 9 months. Sometimes it was the cost. Sometimes it was the hesitation of committing to that intense of an engagement because they felt it might open Pandora's box of employee discontent. And some of it was just overall confusion about the ROI. And I remember someone asked me, like, oh man, you spent all that time putting that together. It's been booming. You should just push harder. And I was like, no. I'm like, if there are 6 services in this package, I could just sell them individually or repurpose it where I just put 2 together or 4 together. I don't have to have all 6. I'm the one who made up the 6. So I could change it in any way. And they were so surprised that I was willing to make that pivot. And I was like, I'm not married to any of this because I made all of this. It came from me. So anytime I want to take any little piece and do something else with it, I could do that because it all came from up here. So with that being said, at any time I need to change so that I can keep this company afloat, I'm going to do that. And that's exactly what I did. So instead of people buying all 6 together, I started to introduce them separately in different ways. And the trainings actually continued to be a hit. And there were like 1 or 2 trainings in particular that were really popular. And I noticed that the others people kind of were messing with. Bet, I got you. Let me push these 2. Then I noticed people wanted to buy different types of coaching offerings. Say less. I got you. Boom. Hitting with the different coaching packages. Came up with some new ones. Some new ways to engage. New focuses or new foci for the training and for the coaching. Then when I started to see, you know what, most people don't even understand what org design is. I think I need to call that vertical something different. So the services might still be the same, but I just need to call that vertical something just a little bit different. Bet, say less. That's a quick website change. Because I do my own website for Dream Forward especially, I could go in and change that whenever I want to. That short pivot has quite literally kept my company afloat because my repeat customers who come back, and now they've come to trust me so much, they'll come to me first before they even ask anybody else. They'll come to me and say, hey, do you know somebody that does this? And a lot of times I do it. I just didn't necessarily tell them before. So, hey, Kalyn, you do a communications training for leaders? I sure do. Wait, do you know somebody who does? Yeah, I know somebody. Me. What's up? What you need? Boom. So I'm able to get revenue to clear the budget for this month. Hey, Kalyn, you know somebody that does coaching for da-da-da? Me? What's up? What you need? Oh, for real? Yeah. Let's talk. That agility is not only the way that you'll survive, but it is how people will be able to feel comfortable enough operating at their highest capacity. That's leader optimism. When I know that I have a leader who is looking for ways to fit me into the vision and to keep me steady, they are looking for ways to keep the ship steady in spite of the hurricane outside, I can feel confident doing what I need to do. That's leader optimism. That filters down to the rest of the team. So how are you willing to pivot your products in order to maintain that optimism on the team? Again, you don't always need to throw out the whole thing. Maybe instead of offering only premium services that have a 4-figure price tag, you offer little bits of something and give out just a couple more freebies. That'll get more people into that sales funnel. And then you have a chance to convert them and upsell them later. Maybe it's instead of speaking at these conferences, you take a couple of free engagements just to increase your reach, get some content, get some footage that you can then use to market. Sometimes it's choosing to focus more on learning than doing and selling. So maybe pull the team back and say, hey, y'all, we're going to do a quick little retreat. It's just half day. We just want to learn, do some exploring, talk as a group. You never know what ideas and insights might come out of that conversation. Again, the pivot in order to keep the product and service afloat. So what does that mean for your team? How does optimism for products and services, how does that factor into the way that you show up as a leader? Is it something that scares you? Is it something that motivates you? Or is it something that you're pretty apathetic about? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, tune in for the next one. Bye, Dreamers.